alive. In the records of a Vermont town, it was noted that people were so desperate they began to eat the carcasses of sheep that had frozen in the fields.
Chapter 4: The Birth of Monsters. The year without a summer didn't just change geography, it changed culture. Over in Europe, the weather was just as miserable. A young woman named Mary Shelley was vacationing in Switzerland with friends, including the poet Lord Byron. Because the rain and cold were so relentless, they were trapped indoors for days. To pass the time, they held a contest to see who could write the scariest story. Inspired by the gloom, the dark skies, and the feeling of a world ending, Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. In a very real sense, the most famous monster in literature was born from a volcanic winter. Chapter 5: The Starving West and the Death of the Horse. In the summer of 1816, the American dream didn't just stall, it froze solid. In Pennsylvania, travelers reported seeing sunspots so large they could be seen with the naked eye through the thick volcanic haze. These weren't just spots, they were a sign that the very atmospheric chemistry of the planet had shifted. Because the sun couldn't penetrate the ash, the temperature never rose high enough to sustain life. The economic ripple effect. In the 1810s, the horse was the engine of the world. No horse meant no mail, no food transport, and no travel. As the hay crops failed across the United States, a terrifying equine famine began. In Ohio, farmers had to make a choice: feed their children the last of the grain or feed the horse. Thousands of horses were slaughtered for meat, curbing the infrastructure of the young nation. The bones on the trail. This desperation sparked the Ohio fever. Tens of thousands of New Englanders, convinced that the East Coast was cursed by God, abandoned their stone-walled farms. They headed for the Genesee Valley and the Ohio River. We call it westward expansion in history books, but in 1816, it was a refugee crisis. They left behind ghost towns in Vermont that remain abandoned to this day. Chapter 6: The Year of the Vampire. While Americans were fleeing to Ohio, the horror in Europe was taking a psychological turn.